Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Rich McCormick escapes the trap that Kaitlan Collins tries to set for him, and you'll realize just how bad CNN really is at reporting. Let's dive in.
Do you think it's ethical for the president to accept a $400 million plane from the Qataris, who you just heard in his first term, he accused them of sponsoring terrorism?
I haven't heard that exactly, but I can tell you that if it's unethical, that'll be up to the people to decide, the president to decide. But it's a matter of if it's illegal, if it gives undue influence. I think Qatar has been a good actor in some ways in negotiating with foreign entities, both on our side against us, and basically being the conduit to try to get hostages back. I think they want to be friends. I think they want to be economically advantageous to both of us. If you look at President Trump and what he's done foreign policy-wise, I'd argue that he's probably one of the most effective people in actually a peace process, mainly the Abraham Accords. What he's done for the Middle East and the peace process economically, militarily, I think you could make arguably a case that he's been the most effective foreign policy president in the Middle East.
But to the heart of this matter, I mean, you can make that argument. Obviously, the Abraham Accords were a defining moment of the first Trump term. But are you, as a sitting member of Congress, personally comfortable with this notion, regardless of whether it violates the Emoluments Clause or if it's ethical? You personally, if this came up for a vote in Congress, would you say yes to it?
I don't think it's going to come down to a voting. It's not either. It's either going to be legal or illegal. I don't think Congress, by the Constitution, is in charge of a budget, not in which gifts the president can accept. I think that's a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I'm in Congress. We're not going to vote on this. They'll come up whether it's acceptable or not. That's going to remain to be seen. What I'm really worried about is the peace process. What's going on in Israel. Why it happened. How do we mitigate that from happening again? How do we tie ourselves economically to countries that will be friendly with us for generations to come? That's really important to me.
But, Congressman, actually, if you read the Emoluments Clause, it says no person holding any office shall, without the consent of Congress, accept of any present of any kind, whatever, from any king, prince, or foreign state. I mean, it actually does directly have to do with the consent of Congress, sir.
So historically, I'm curious. Yeah, you're the reporter. Could you tell me if every gift we ever received from the Middle East has been voted on? Because I don't remember that at all. So I'm just asking.
I'm saying this is the Emoluments
general
Clause.
purposes.
I mean, typically presidents are not supposed to accept gifts from
is there?
foreign leaders.
But I know we have, though. Historically, we've accepted gifts from all over the world. The question is there a monetary value on that? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm sure we'll look into it. If it's illegal, we won't do it.
Can you think of one situation from a
East,
past U.S. president, Democrat or Republican, who has accepted a gift this large from a foreign government? I can't.
Oh, never this large. Of course not. But that's not the question. The question isn't how large it is. Is it legal? Is it something we voted on before? Is there a precedent? But you're avoiding the question, which is, what is a bigger deal right now? Is it the peace process? Is it the economic tie-in of Israel to Arab countries that are friendly to the process? They're going to be our allies into the future. They're going to have this incredible impact on getting hostages back, in settling what's going on in Gaza. Those are the bigger issues. The plane will settle itself. I mean, that will work itself out. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it because that's something new. We haven't even really considered yet. But I'm really worried about the peace process and what we do economically going forward.
Yeah, I don't think the peace process has to do with whether or not the Qataris are gifting the United States a plane.
Exactly. Thank you for agreeing with me on it. That's exactly my point. Yeah, it's exactly my point. Yeah, thank you.
I'm saying it's not impeding it. My question is separate as whether or not you are okay with it.
I got it.
Congressman Rich McCormick.
I think I answered that question pretty clearly, though.
A problem for you.
I think we'll decide over time. I'm sure there'll be lawyers take a look at it, make sure there's nothing wrong with it, nothing illegal. If we have to vote on it, we'll vote on it, and then we'll see. But I think it's something that's new. It's a concept that, $400 million aircraft. That's an expensive gift. I get it. But also it's not on the taxpayer. Will it be something that's going to have nefarious software on it or something like that? That's going to have to be accepted or evaluated. But right now, it's just not the forefront of this issue.
Is that a concern that you have?
How many times are you going to ask me the same question? I think I've answered that question thoroughly now.
You've got to be joking here. This really is the best vector they can do. Because they're complaining about the idea that a president can receive a gift, because that actually is, legally speaking, murky water. Because on one hand, there is presidential precedent for receiving gifts from different nations, okay? It is okay to receive, say, Russian nesting dolls from Russia. It's okay to receive gifts from other foreign leaders. And in this instance, there's actually a much better vector of attack that CNN and Kaitlan Collins could be pursuing here, but they're not really that smart. They're not smart enough to go down this route. And Rich McCormick does a good job of dancing around this obvious trap that Kaitlan's trying to set up for him, but let's be honest here. The whole reason this exchange took place is likely because Kaitlan got some notes from her producer and who was telling her, hey, we've got this one graphic, let's see if this Republican will fall for it. And then she tried to make that her 1 point for this entire interview. Good grief. That's just sad, isn't it? Because that, like I said, that is the best they can do. And here's the better attack vector. And then I'll explain why it ultimately wouldn't be a good idea, but it would at least be a start for them. The move, that is giving the airplane from Qatar to President Trump, is ethically suspect, particularly considering Trump's business dealings with the small Gulf kingdom. Last month, Eric Trump visited Qatar to meet with officials to discuss a proposed $5.5 billion Trump Organization golf resort in the country. That sounds like a good question to ask about. Why is there a plane being given to the Trump administration right after there was a major business deal being negotiated? Then all you have to do from that perspective, and this is what Rich McCormick could have easily done, is ask, well, wait a minute, isn't Qatar also sort of the headquarters of Hamas? Isn't there a major ceasefire operation going on? By the way, can we also talk about how Trump is being instrumental in trying to get a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia? What about the ceasefire that's currently going on between Pakistan and India? That's massively significant. If we're talking about ceasefires and we're talking about peace and we're talking about trying to ensure peace, wouldn't it be a good idea to at least have someone on the ground negotiating? And as a matter of fact, there is a major trade negotiation going on in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and the United States just signed another major economic agreement just this morning on today, May 13th, as of this filming. And so that's why she's actually overseas, because she's wanting to get some of the inside scoops wherever she can. But she wanted to take time. Kaitlan tried to take time out of her day and out of the news cycle to see if she could get Rich McCormick to say something that's just to say something that might not be as perfect as it possibly could have been. And I'll admit, Rich McCormick isn't a genius when it comes to dealing with the mainstream media. He's not Senator Kennedy. He didn't strike out, though. He definitely got on base. But he understands not to give Kaitlan Collins what she wants. She wants a gaffe. She wants someone to say something outlandish. She wants to try someone's patience. She tried to get Rich McCormick between a rock and a hard place, and it didn't work. There's much better news to be reporting on right now than a gift between Qatar and President Trump's administration, okay? Furthermore, you then have to ask yourself, now wait a minute, if she should be reporting on this major economic deal, what is the real reason that she's focusing on Qatar? Again, I brought this up a little bit earlier, but there's another reason to be focusing on Qatar. They have been in the news for the past couple of years, not just because of Hamas, but because they also, like many of the other Gulf states, they want to increase their economic influence. They know one day the oil's going to run out. They're going to need another way to bring in wealth, to bring in money, and they also need to curry favor with the rest of the world, particularly after they hosted the World Cup, and now it's come to light just how many unethical practices were going on at the time. They're trying to curry favor. They're trying to get in with better standing with the United States because they need those optics. They need to give us the plane more than we need the plane. So maybe, just maybe, there's a reason that CNN can only go so far in this route. Because if they bother to ask any of the tougher questions like, well, why was there a major gift when the son of the president has been having direct business dealings with Qatar? That's a good question, but there's an answer for that. Well, why aren't they? Why are you focusing more on the economic policies that's going to be passed this very morning? Again, as of this filming. Well, there is a good answer for that, and there's a good way for people to reach those conclusions. And the producers at CNN know that if they give any positive press, if they give any points to the Trump administration, they will lose viewers. Okay, so Kaitlan Collins is doing the best she can under the guidelines of what CNN is trying to do. CNN has to make Trump look bad. CNN has to cater to these rich white liberals who are just frothing at the mouth with Trump derangement syndrome to the gills. And they can't give the Trump administration any positive press. So the best they can do is ask time and time again for a full 5.5 minutes about, well, is accepting this gift from Qatar acceptable and ethical? Again, that's the best they can do. And Rich McCormick is doing a great job here of deflecting from the ridiculousness that is this question. And maybe he was playing some 4D chess here, because if he was to get into these other issues, that CNN interview might have gone from 5 minutes to 3 minutes flat. Because again, they don't want to give Trump any positive press. So Kaitlan Collins, that really is the best she can do. So thank you, Rich McCormick. I think there was some bigger dealings going on here, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. What's really going on in the Middle East right now? My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one, and until then, y'all have a good one.